Hey, welcome back to What's Wrong with This Picture with Dennis Guillaume. I'm Dave Dufour, and we're talking about backing up your digital pictures. When you're traveling, you don't want to lose those precious moments that you've shot on the road. So we've gone through rules 1 and 2 about photo storage. What's the third rule that we want to talk about?
Well, the third rule has to do with kind of an archival approach, or keeping that final copy where it's going to be safe no matter what.
Right.
And again, we start to sound just a little redundant here, maybe, but the fact is that it's really the smart thing to do if you want to protect your
the problem is that if you got your photos stored on a hard drive and that hard drive goes, you've lost every photo in there. This is not sort of a sort of a halfway thing. It's gone. So the redundancy makes sense from that standpoint.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you know, a lot of these people are going to have both their pictures on that same hard drive, and they've spent 7 years researching the family history, and they've got family tree information on there, and when that thing goes down, it's all gone.
Right.
if you haven't backed it up. So you can lose a substantial amount of stuff. Rule number 3 is one that says make a third copy, believe it or not, a third copy of your photos, and call it the archival set, and store that copy off-site somewhere. You may have your first copy on your computer, your desktop, or on a hard drive. You may have your second copy on an external hard drive. So you've got your 2 copies there. Now your third one is going to be off-site, because I don't want to wish anybody bad luck, but what if you find yourself running out of the house in the middle of the night and there's a fire in the house and the whole thing goes down? There goes those 2 backups, the two sets of files, unless you took the time to make an archival copy and put it in your safety deposit box, put it in a safe in another location like the office, or maybe even get a friend or a neighbor next door to hang on to a copy. And it makes big. Now, we should look at a picture we've got here of one solution that makes a lot of sense. And there we go. This is just one solution. There are all kinds of them out there. This is a little device, a docking station, that is able to take up to 2 terabytes per disk. It can read up to 2 terabytes, so that could be 4 terabytes there. It's got 2 disks in them. And that will plug in one of 2 different ways. USB, the most common way to plug into your main computer where your other copies are. You can make your first backup on this thing on the first disk. Okay, you've got your primary copy on your computer. Now you can make a copy from the first disk to the second disk, and that becomes your archival copy. You pull that out of there once you've got those copies made, and go take it someplace to a safe or some other location. And then make it a habit to bring it back, stick it in that back one, and make continuous backup copies so that your third copy is easy to make without going through a big hassle.
Okay. Well, that looks like a really does that particular device do it automatically, or can it do it independently of the computer, or do you have to have the computer there to copy from one disk to another?
No, it's got to have a computer in the middle of that operation.
Okay, so there may be a little bit of a time lag in there while it occupies some computer time.
Right, but you still have 2 copies, remember, and what you're doing with this third copy is periodically you're making, and you might do that once a week, you might do that and make it a habit of doing it once a month even, but what you're doing is you're making that third copy go across, so that the most you could possibly lose is the amount of from the last backup to that third copy to the current one, current pictures.
Okay, good. All right, so that's a great solution. And the other thing, I guess, the one thing to point out with in terms of storage solutions as well, we talked a little bit about online solutions. Unless you're just talking about fairly low-res snapshots, you cannot count on backing up photos on services like Flickr or Facebook or something like that. That is not a backup solution, or Picasa, which we talked about. Those are photo sharing sites. They are not designed to take high-resolution files. As a matter of fact, if you upload high-res files, some of these sites actually crunch them down and make them more compact, so that if you ever thought you were going to get a backup out of there, when it comes back, it's not going to be as high res as what you sent up there. So it's strictly for sharing. So unless you just really don't care particularly about having high-res pictures, these are not good storage solutions. So we're going to be back in just a minute with more disaster talk and how to avoid it talk here on What's Wrong with This Picture, so stick with us. Question or comment for Dennis Guillaume? Get in touch at picture@rvnn.tv, and don't forget to send us your RVing pictures for possible use on an upcoming episode. You can also leave a voicemail for Dennis at 877-578-RVNN, extension 704. Follow RV Newsnet on Facebook and Twitter, and you can receive text messages to alert you when we're streaming live by texting RVNN to 72727. That way, you can join us live in the chat room, ask questions, and become part of the RV Newsnet family. Remember, any photos or other material submitted to us become the property of RV Newsnet and cannot be returned. For more TV like this from the world of RVs, head to rvnn.tv.